right, this brings us to the last section of the introduction of the course, principles in ethics. Principles in ethics. All of these decisions can be considered principles. As we've said before, they just really kind of fade into the background. So where the principles in ethics come into play is when other people are considered, their needs, their beliefs. So what is right and what is wrong? This has been contemplated for thousands of years. For as long as there's human existence, records show that we've been contemplating this. Plato is one of the older ones, and they were talking about the philosopher kings, Plato's Republic, where you had reason and logic. That's what's right, and that's what should govern ourselves. So that was the good. What is good? What is bad? Whatever's good simply makes me feel good. Whatever's bad simply makes me feel bad. And how is it that we came to these conclusions? A lot of them just seem very evident, right? And in that self, very evident has a lot of presuppositions baked within it that we can't simply put into a jar. Oh, it's right because we got a whole bunch of right in this jar and everybody can see it. I could palpate this jar and I could feel it. I can manipulate it. It's part of the environment around us. But a lot of those beliefs, believe it or not, we don't actually have an account for what is right and what is wrong. So it's important that we understand that so that our actions and our behaviors are tempered within the empowered lens. So this is a big question within itself, principles in ethics. And that's an ongoing conversation, right? Whether or not that really evolves. A lot of people like to think that, over the course of history, our thoughts have just evolved and they're getting better and better and better. But as far as I could tell, when it comes to mainstream media, it's getting kind of nasty out there and it's getting more degenerate, if you will, as time goes on. So whether or not I believe that to a certain extent, I'm not too really sure. I think there is certain principles within the universe that for whatever reason they just don't change, and it informs us on what is right and what is wrong. So that's a huge conversation. That's just another one of those things where you could spend the rest of your life contemplating what is right, what is wrong, and informing your actions from there. So we'll touch on the empowered lens. One of the first principles with the empowered lens being of peace. So peace is actually almost a privilege in that some people spend the rest of their lives trying to find peace and never find it, right? They're always haunted by something, whatever's in their past, accepting their past self to where they are now might really offer you peace. But another aspect of peace when it comes to the empowered lens is peaceful actions towards others. So even extended bouts of raised voices is unacceptable. If there is no sign of that being resolved, which there usually isn't, because it will take you at least 30 minutes for you to calm down, as much as you want to try that, your restraint is impacted by your stress and your anger, and it takes a long time for you to just metabolically let all of those juices flow through you. So it's really hard for you to create an environment that's conducive of collaboration and everything. So as soon as that peace is dissolved, we could assume by then that it's really not a conducive environment for going forward. It might be best to kind of remove yourself from the situation for the time being, respectfully remove yourself, and then resume collaboration at another time. Amongst certain principles and ethics is taking responsibility. So that's one of those things that's just baked in with everything that we do with empowered agency, is that you're taking responsible for these empowered actions. Are they promoting health? Are they promoting well-being? Are they promoting relationships within your community? If not, we could assume that something needs to be done and that you're responsible for actually creating those better decisions, employing better solutions. And one of the presuppositions that we have here with these principles and ethics is that you're here to serve others. You're here to serve something greater than yourself. And of course, this is one of those things that is optional. If you want to use all these principles and ethics within the Empowered Agency course to simply improve your situation as it is right here and right now, then that's perfectly fine. But the overall thrust of everything that we're doing with Discursive Studios is going to be played out on the grander stage, where we're collaborating with other people, we're collaborating with other communities. And that's where it really begins. There's lots of like beginning stages, like, okay, you made a decision to be more empowered. That's just the beginning. Okay, you got the health, you got the fitness, you got the nutrition down. And that's just the beginning for the ideation. And then the ideation, okay, you've got up to this point, and then now you're just ready to share it with the public. And now you got a feedback, and now you're ready to integrate with the broader world. And as you're doing this, you're growing in skill, and thus the challenges are greater. And so you're just on this constant stage of ever becoming and getting better. And it can be frustrating in that sense where you never arrive, right? You never arrive at the end of talking about what's right and what's wrong. Oh, didn't you know what's right and what's wrong? We already settled that. That's an old conversation, right? I think it should be redone and said again. Even if you're just saying the same thing, you're saying it from a little slightly different perspective. And sometimes we need to remember all of these things. When it comes to the empowered lens, of course we got to be peaceful. Of course we got to be respectful. Of course I can't use my empowered agency to hurt other people. But we need to say all of these things, and we need to be reminded that there is principles, there is ethics, there is right, there is wrong. Simply putting that forward and reminding people that there's rules out there changes behavior. Just one of those things that can never be belabored, that we're never just going to walk away from principles. We're going to walk away from an empowered lens. It's something that we always got to be conscious of and instill within ourselves. We'll get better, we'll get stronger. It's almost like a muscle. And if we're not using it, we're going to lose it. So another thing right off the bat when it comes to behavior with Discursive Studios is that you never really need things. And I think this will help in your emotional state and your mental state. I mean, we need things and we want things, but we're not going to lower ourselves to beg for it. It's unfortunate that things don't go our way. We might not get what we want or what we need, but we're never going to give off. We're just really super desperate for anything. Certain psychological signals to other people, whether it be in our family, our friends, people just see that and they pick up on that, and then they'll treat you differently. So it's not really so much a manipulative thing where you're just this stone cold guy and you don't care that nothing's happening the way you want it, but you're just whole as you are right now. We're striving for more things. We're striving for better things. But where you are right now is great. And we're just building on top of that. We're being humble. We're approaching everything with humility. This is another one of those things where it's just like, why is this right? Why is this wrong? A large part of the reason why I'm including that in the course is that there's just lots of psychological studies to suggest that people really react differently when you come off as being desperate. And when you're desperate, this will kind of feed into your personality. And then you might take this kind of victim stance all the time, and then you manipulate everything around you because you're in need. You are whole as you are right now, and we're never going to come off as if we really, really badly need that. Even though in a lot of cases we do. Other opportunities are going to present themselves, and we're going to create more opportunities as we go forward. So if things fall through now, reflect on that. What went wrong? What went right? What could we do better next time? We're not going to get hung up on, missing out on things, because more opportunities will present themselves and more opportunities will be created by us. So it's an endless conversation when it comes to the whole discursive studio's approach and outline. Just start here. And that's one of the main things about starting off and choosing empowered agency, is that it's just got to be done right now. There's no better time than right now. And because we're encouraging people to just go out there and start collaborating right now, we want to make sure that we're empowering them with the best frame of mind, best principles going into these situations, because you could very well hurt yourself or you could hurt other people. So it's best that we understand ourselves first and foremost, apply everything to ourselves, reflect on those, keep track of those, what's going right, what's going wrong, really listen to ourselves, look at those insights, and then build on top of that with the intent of sharing it with others and refining our solutions and insights and understanding from there. There's many things that are holding us back from making decisions, but we want to do our best here at Discursive Studios to really empower you and go into the world being your best self. You know, it could be considered a self-help kind of course, but the way we look at it, it's just the way the world is. This is the way history unfolds to a certain extent. And this will be an ongoing conversation, but as long as there's humans in existence, this will be refined and understood even further.